50% of women experience vaginal dryness and pain with intercourse. And we're focused on providing solutions to women that have vaginal health issues.
Welcome to Wellness, your ultimate guide to unlocking your full human potential through biohacking. I'm your host, Ashley Deeley. I'm a certified sports nutrition coach, former personal trainer, and Pilates instructor, and I have a degree in kinesiology. My goal is to help you improve the quality of your life. When you leave a review on any streaming app, or if you swipe up on Spotify and give me 5 stars, it helps listeners just like you find this hidden health information faster. I honestly thought about recording this ad on my bed because I love my mattress so much. You spend about 1/3 of your life in bed, so the material you sleep on matters. Traditional mattresses are made with synthetic materials and fire retardants. Your body should be able to rest and relax and not breathe in harmful toxins. I would also never dream of sleeping on a mattress made with metal coils. The bed that I sleep on is made with a blend of beautiful, organic, GOTS certified cotton, wool, and it has a beautiful, breathable surface and interior. Visit ashleydeeley.com/mattress. That's ashleydeeley.com/mattress. When you buy fish oil from the grocery store, you're getting low quality fish oil because that fish oil has been made from fish who were grain fed. That means the fish oil that you're taking can actually cause more inflammation than it's supposed to prevent. That's why there's only one fish oil brand that I recommend, which is actually called a resolvin, or SPM, a specialized pro-resolving mediator. It's cold pressed, made with herring roe, basically caviar. There's no artificial colors, flavors, fillers, or caramel color. To find out the brand that I use that I've been looking for years and is finally the only brand of fish oil that I trust, visit ashleydeeley.com/fish oil. That's ashleydeeley.com/fish oil. Today's guest is Colette Courtion, the founder and CEO of Joylux, an internal red light device company unlike any other. Colette's journey began after giving birth to her son, when she personally experienced the intimate health challenges so many women faced. She was in the middle of perimenopause, quickly followed by menopause. And when she noticed atrophy, she knew there was something she had to do. The Joylux device mitigates vaginal dryness, discomfort during intimacy, and even bladder leaks. Colette's mission goes far beyond innovation, and she's challenging the taboos which silence women's health conversations, advocating for fairness in social media policies, and calling for stronger menopause education within healthcare. If you're experiencing vaginal dryness, soreness during sex, incontinence, or atrophy of the vagina, this episode is for you. Colette, welcome to Wellness.
Thank you, Ashley.
Can you please tell us what is a loose vagina?
Well, yes, a loose vagina. Well, for those of you that aren't familiar with Joylux, let me just start off there. We are an intimate health company, and we're focused on providing solutions to women that have vaginal health issues. And loose vagina is a term that you don't hear often, but it affects so many women. As we age, especially as we go through menopause, we lose estrogen in our bodies, and that estrogen impacts the integrity of our tissue. In fact, we have estrogen receptors all over our body. It's not just for making babies, but estrogen is everywhere. And what it does is we start to lose blood flow in our tissue, and we lose collagen and elastin. When you lose collagen and elastin, I'll start there, that's the obvious, your skin becomes lax, loose. So I always use the example of, look at a young child, a young person, and they have this beautiful, thick skin with lots of collagen and elastin. It's very plump. But then you look at a woman, say in her 70s and 80s, and she's got lots of wrinkles, her skin is loose. The same thing is happening down in our vagina, but we don't see it. We're not down there looking with a mirror or anything. So we don't notice it as much, but it is absolutely as loose down there as it is up here. Now back to blood flow. when we have blood flow in our skin, it's little tiny vessels of blood flow, and our skin as a result is very hydrated. It's rosy. Going back to the example of the child, you notice the rosy cheeks. You just want to squeeze those little rosy cheeks. But as women age, as we age, that skin becomes more gray. So it doesn't look the same as a young gal. Well, again, same thing is happening there. That loss of blood flow impacts the integrity of the tissue. It becomes thinner. It's less. It's more dry. It doesn't have that natural lubrication because of the loss of blood flow. So we end up with AKA loose vagina.
Attention to what we see, maybe not what we don't see.
Exactly. And then women don't understand that because they're not seeing it, they don't know what's going on. One of the complaints we hear a lot from women is sex hurts. I get a stinging sensation because I'm putting, you have friction when you put a penis inside, and that tissue is no longer thick and, supple. It's dry and it's thin. And then they encounter friction, and that friction causes stinging, it causes irritation, it causes pain. And that is because of, the loss of collagen elast and loss of blood flow. And women don't know, but it's the same thing again on our face. If we just sat there and rubbed our face like this when it was aging, if we didn't do anything to our face, it would hurt. It wouldn't function the same. And so what's happening down there is the same as what happens up here, but we just focus on this. We buy creams, we buy, we go and get treatments done.
And this is why I'm really excited to talk about the products that you make, because can you just even imagine if men complained of painful sex? Can you imagine how many devices there would be?
Exactly. In fact, this is a statistic that I find so fascinating. So for decades, we have been talking about erectile dysfunction. And that's when men lose blood flow in their penis and it doesn't get erect. Therefore, it's preventing them from having intercourse because they can't get it up. So we've been talking about this for decades. There's been television commercials, there's been ED drugs. It's just, I even think that Senator Dole was a spokesperson for ED in the 90s. What's interesting though, this is what's fascinating. Only 25% of men experience ED in their life, and the majority of them who experience ED is later in their life. Yet with women, 50% of women, and we think that number is underreported because a lot of women don't talk about this issue with their doctor, but 50% of women experience vaginal dryness and pain with intercourse. Yet, where are all the solutions?
What is Joylux?
So I started this company back, it's going on now over 10 years. I started this company with the idea that women need to take care of themselves down there like they do up here. My background was in the beauty world. So I was working in skincare. I was working with all the latest in anti-aging technologies. And it was when I went through my own personal journey of first becoming a mother and learning about our pelvic floor health and all the trauma that comes with giving birth to a child, and the stretching and the tearing and the trauma that comes from delivery. And then quickly going into perimenopause, where, as I talked about, I started losing my estrogen, and then that affected the integrity of my tissue. I was losing collagen elastin. I was losing, that blood flow, that dryness. So, you combine those two life experiences, and I went, oh my God, what is going on here? There's got to be something for women, right? So I called up my OBGYN and I said, what are we doing about this? And she's like, there really isn't much, Colette. You just kind of got to tough it up. And I was like, no, there's got to be something better. So I had this aha moment where I said, okay, wait a minute. We're using advanced technologies to keep the health of our skin up here, fresh and young. And why can't we do the same down there? And so I got the doctor back on the phone. I said, what if we put an energy-based technology down there? And an energy-based technology, for most of you that are probably like, what is that? It's about, I always try to make this in easy, to understand terms, but it's about putting energy in the tissue to allow your cells to regenerate. And energy can come in many forms. It can come in the form of light, lasers, radio frequency, ultrasound. There's different things, but it's basically heating the tissue. So then your tissue is forced to create new collagen, elastin to increase that blood flow. So, okay, not to get too technical here, but then, so I said, well, wait a minute. Light is one of the safest energy sources we have. I mean, it's around us all the time, but light specifically in the red spectrum really gets your cells going. It activates the mitochondria in your cells. They release these chemicals that increase blood flow that produce new collagen elastin. So I said, let's put light therapy down there. So long story short, sorry about that, guys. We developed what has become the world's first and only, I mean, there's some imitators out there, but we have 28 global patents on this that uses red light therapy, but internally, see, look how bright I'm getting. So it's the same red light we put on our face or other parts of our body for pain, but we've designed it to accommodate the vaginal canal. So when you put it in your vagina, that red light is activating the tissue, the cells and the mitochondria in the cells to do all those things I just talked about. So why are we doing that? Again, it's to help our body with the blood flow, the production of new collagen and elastin, so that you can turn that aging clock back like we do up here. And so then your vaginal tissue functions like your facial tissue does.
It makes so much sense that you would want red light in the vagina.
And what amazed me, Ashley, is I was like, well, why hasn't someone else thought of this, right? Like, I'm not a scientist. I'm not a technologist. I was just someone that understood energy technologies and anti-aging really well. And then I personally was going through these experiences. So I was like, why don't we put those down there? And I was shocked to see that no one in the world had done this. We were the first, and that's why we have 28 global patents on it. But from there, Joylux, so we launched VFit in the United States, V-Sculpt outside the United States. And I didn't stop there. I said, all of the things that we're doing to our vaginal tissue, we have to look at it the same way as we look at our facial tissue. Like, the market had a bunch of products that have been out for decades, douching products, cleansing products, but they all had really bad ingredients. There were parabens and pegs and all these really bad things. And our skin down there, our tissue down there is really absorptive. So anything you put down there is gonna, it's gonna go right into your bloodstream. So you only want to have the best ingredients down there as you would expect on your face. Like, we're all into clean and natural and all these peptides and ingredients that are really good for here. Why aren't we doing the same down there? So that's when we designed a line of basically skincare products, but specifically for your vagina and vulva that have the right pH. So they have a 4.5 to 5 pH, which is where our vaginal tissue is today, versus others that are really alkaline and up there in the 8 to 9 range. So they're pH balanced. They have only clean ingredients, none of those toxic bad things that you want to put down there. And then they have ingredients that are really good for you, like hyaluronic acid. So, like our lubricant, which is the Let's Spin lubricant that we designed with Halle Berry. It has hyaluronic acid, it has aloe in it, it has all these amazing ingredients that then really nourish and moisturize and take care of the tissue down there, like, again, you would do in your face. So Joylux is all about intimate care that is clean, science-based, really good for you.
What studies do you have about improving the vagina?
So first of all, red light has been around for decades. It's actually was invented by NASA in the 60s. So when astronauts would go up into space, their tissue wouldn't be exposed to any of the natural wonders of light, like that we get, vitamin D. So they developed this light to apply to astronauts to help them. So that's where the technology came from. Since then, there's been, oh gosh, I want to say 3,000, 4,000, a lot of clinical studies done on the application of light on our body. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if it's your face or your vagina, the mechanism of action of how this light works is exactly the same. It's about the red light comes in contact with your tissue. It penetrates down to the cellular level. It excites the mitochondria in our cells, which are the powerhouse of our cells. And when those mitochondria are excited, they release key chemicals, nitric oxide, which is responsible for blood flow, and ATP, which is responsible for the production of collagen and elastin. So whether you're putting red light on your face here or your face or your vagina, you're getting the same clinical benefits. So specifically, though, we wanted to not just use that hypothesis down there. We actually clinically studied it. So we've done over 6 clinical studies. Several of them are published in peer-reviewed medical journals that talk about the clinical benefits of using red light therapy down there for pelvic floor health, for vaginal dryness, for pain with intercourse. We have proven science. We even did, in one study, we did vaginal biopsies where women agreed to have their tissue cut pre and post. But in that, we could then actually see the changes that occurred in the tissue. We could see the production of new blood vessels. We could see the thickening of the epithelium, which is the formation of new collagen, elastin. So we could make sure that our hypothesis and what women are telling us was actually legit, that you could see the change in the tissue. So we're really excited about standing behind a product that has good science, that is clinically validated, that is loved by doctors.
I'm so excited and proud of you too. And also, I feel like, who are these women that volunteered to get their that seems a bit what's the word when it's invasive? That's
right. That definitely was invasive, but thankfully they did it in the name of science.
I've heard red light works the best on thin skin. That's why you can see results on your face. So it makes sense that you would see results down there.
Well, and so one of the things that makes it really effective in your vaginal tissue is that we don't have the stratum corneum. So the stratum corneum is the top layer of your skin on your body. So on your face, on your body. And what that is, it's a layer of essentially dead skin cells that protect your skin. So it keeps the good things in your body in and the bad things out. So it's this layer, this protective layer. In your vagina, you don't have it. That's why your vaginal tissue is so absorptive. So anything you put in there is going to go right in your bloodstream in your body because you don't have that stratum corneum. It's the same as our mouth tissue. Actually, our vaginal tissue is the same as our oral tissue. So if you feel inside of your mouth, that doesn't have a stratum corneum either. And so that's why when you put things in your mouth, again, it's super absorptive. So to your point, red light, when it doesn't have to penetrate through this layer of dead skin cells, it is even more effective.
Colette, can you also use this on the outside, on the lips, on the vulva, on everything outside to help tighten and restore it?
Absolutely. I will say, though, our device is incredibly powerful. And so it generates enough heat that when you use it externally, you're going to feel the heat. When you use it internally, our body has a natural heat sink where, because it has blood flow, it actually pulls that heat out so you don't feel it like you would externally. So we always caution women that if you are using it externally, that you just reduce it. Feel too warm, you turn it off. What we recommend is everybody start off on the lowest treatment time, which is 6 minutes. That again gets your body used to this technology, to this feel, the sensation of it. So we want you to start off at 6 minutes, and we recommend you do this every other day for the first week to 2 weeks. Once your body's used to it, you don't feel warmth anymore, you go up to the 8 minute. And then again, do that for, a week or 2 weeks until you don't feel it, the heat, the warmth. Then you go up to 10 minutes. And at 10 minutes, we want you there every other day for the remaining of the recommended sessions, which are 6 to 8 weeks. Now, in all of our clinical studies, women start to notice results within 3 weeks. So you'll start to feel your body changing. You'll notice like, oh, it's really easy to insert. I don't feel the sensation. I don't feel any of that, perhaps what you may have felt, any burning. It's really comfortable. And that's because your body is increasing that vascularization. It's producing that new collagen elastin. At 6 weeks, that's when over 90% of women will get the most clinical outcome. Some women, we say go to 8 weeks because maybe you started off at 6 minutes and you were there a little longer. So by the time you're at 8 weeks, you should hit your maximum therapeutic benefit. And that's related to how our skin actually produces new collagen elastin and the cellular turnover. It takes between a little over 28 days for our body to create that new collagen elastin. And so because of that, that's when we say 6 to 8 weeks. Really, women will start to feel their body changing about 3 weeks, and about 8 weeks, absolutely, you've hit where you'll probably end up. Now, if you start this younger, you'll achieve results faster. If you're older, it's going to take a little longer, and the benefits may not be the same. Because think of it this way. Let's say you want to go to the gym to lose weight and work out and build your muscles. If you're starting from a place where you're pretty active, you probably don't need to be at the gym for very long, and you're going to start noticing results within weeks. If you've never hit the gym and this is your first time lifting weights and you're older, it's going to take you a long time to build up that muscle mass and to lose that weight. So that's why with this device, like anything, you want to start younger. You'll see results more quicker and you'll see better results versus if you're in your 60s, it's going to take a little more time. Now, one more thing I want to add, maintenance. So a lot of people think, oh, this is one and done, right? Like I treat myself and then that's it. 6 weeks, 8 weeks, I'm done. No, unfortunately, our body continues to age and you have to stay with a maintenance program. So we recommend at least once a week for 10 minutes, maybe twice a week, depending on where you're at. The reality is that's not what women do, right? Women get to where they want to be and then they stop. Eventually what will happen is some of their symptoms will come back slowly. And so that's when women go into what we call retreatment, where they start the sessions over again. Maybe they only need to do 3 weeks to get back to their end result. So we have a mixture. We recommend you stay on a maintenance program, then you don't have to do retreatment. But a lot of women will do what we call retreatment, where 6 months in, they start to see their symptoms again, so then they retreat themselves.
Do I have to have a timer to remind myself for the 8 or 10 minutes?
Oh, well, yeah, so we made it super easy for you. So the first thing I want to point out is the device itself is super easy to do. You just turn the device. I gotta make sure I'm doing it the right way. You turn the device on. Let's see if you could see. I don't know. There you go. There's a green light. So that lets you know the device is on. Then you can choose your 6-minute, your 8-minute, and you can't really see this, or your 10 minutes treatment session. There, now I'm on 10 minutes. All the green lights are on. There we go. Now it's ready to treat, and I'm going to just hit this button again. The red lights go on, and then it starts to time down, and you'll notice the green lights these are red lights now. They'll start to get, they'll go, each light will come down. And then after your treatment session, whether it's 6, 8, or 10, the device automatically turns off. Now, that's one way you could do it, but the better way is through our app. We have this really great app that connects to the device that allows you to, there we go, not now. You can start a session, so you can actually see where it's linked, and it will have the timer, and then you can visually see the timer go down, and it's connect to the device. And I got to connect the device here. I turn the device on. There we go, syncing our device, and then it does everything for you on the app. Now, why this is nice, watch, look, I have it, and I'm going to hit start. No, I don't want to, I'm doing this backwards. Okay, start, come on. There we go. See, and it turned the device on automatically for me via the app. So now I can start to see that my time is going down. You could see the timer going down. But while I'm in the app, I can read the content. We have awesome stories on women's health, everything from vaginal health to diet to nutrition. I'm going to stop the device here just so I can, there we go. So there's a lot of cool things, but what I love about the app is it has a calendar. And that calendar tells you exactly when you need to do a session, for how long. It puts you on a plan, like, okay, I want you to start off at 6 minutes, then go to 8 minutes. So it has this calendar, has alerts, it has reminders, and then it has a diary that allows you to track your progress. And it's not just on vaginal health symptoms, but it's all menopause related symptoms, whether you're in perimenopause or menopause and you're experiencing hot flashes or weight gain or mood swings. You could track all of that in the app. And then we have really great insights that we offer that just help you just, get to know your body better.
Can you use the Joylux without Bluetooth?
Yes. You don't have to use it. It's incredibly safe. It's a low emission Bluetooth, so it's actually much safer than your cell phone. The Bluetooth is actually outside of your body. It's not inside your body, and it's what we call low emission. So you're going to emit more from your phone being close to your body than certainly this device, but for sure, you could do it either way.
Does the Joylux help reduce symptoms of a dry vagina?
Well, yes, because that's all related to blood flow. So again, as we age, we're losing that estrogen in our tissue. Estrogen helps regulate that blood flow. And so if we have less blood flow, our skin is more dry. And that's why, the older women have the gray, sullen skin and dry. Same thing down there. So the light increases that blood flow by helping release that nitric oxide in the tissue. And that nitric oxide helps with vascularization. So you're actually becoming more vascular, which is increasing that blood flow, which is increasing the lubrication in your body. Now, don't ask me, the correlation between blood flow and lubrication, but it absolutely is connected. And so it produces, it helps you with that natural lubrication. So your body is going to be much, much more naturally lubricated because we've increased that blood flow.
What's the difference between maybe buying a red light bulb on Amazon and the Joylux?
Oh, that is one of my favorite questions and a big misunderstanding about red light therapy. People think that all red light is equal, and it's not. There's red LEDs in everything we do. In fact, here on our computer, we have LEDs. You could buy an LED, like you said, light bulb. You can buy LEDs for your Christmas tree. That red light is not the same because it's about the power of light that's emitted. A simple LED light bulb, red light bulb, emits about, again, this is going to get really technical, but I try to make it a little more understanding. So you could have a regular LED light bulb that emits red light, and it's going to be measured in 1 milliwatt per centimeter squared. And centimeter squared just means we're looking at the same area, treatment area. So it's an apples to apples comparison. So a little light bulb could have 1 milliwatts. If you put that on your face, that's not going to do anything because it's showing red light, but it's not penetrating red light. It's like lasers. Lasers are really effective because the light is honed in, and it's focused light, and it goes deep into, it's like a laser beam. It goes deep into the skin. So when you have just a little LED, it's going to show red, but it's not going to penetrate your tissue. We need the light to be so powerful it's going to penetrate your tissue. So with our devices, our lights are, well, I think it's 700% greater than anything else in the market. And because of that, that light is penetrating really deep into your tissue. We go 2 to 3 millimeters into the tissue. And then there's another misconception that, more LEDs means it's better. Like I could have 1 LED or I could have 100 LEDs. So if I have 100 LEDs, it must be better. Again, that's not true because let's say those 100 LEDs each had 1 milliwatt of power. So maybe with all of that, you get 100 milliwatts of power because you have 100 light bulbs, LEDs. But with the Joylux device, we have 6 LEDs, but each one is 150 milliwatts. So 6 times 150, you're getting almost 1,000 milliwatts of power. So you could have 100 LEDs that give you 100 milliwatts, or you have 6 LEDs that give you almost 1,000 milliwatts of power. So it's about the power of each LED that determines the effectiveness. And they'll on packaging, every device should tell you what it is. Most people don't understand it to really get it, and so the companies just do marketing. I have 100 LEDs, it must be super powerful. That's not how we look at it. But if you really want to know, you call the company up or you say, explain to me the actual total power of this device, and then we look at it in a term called joules per centimeter squared. But again, getting very technical here.
Is there any infrared light, or what causes the heat, Colette?
The infrared, it's part of the red spectrum. You go from an amber color orange, which is around 500. So light comes in a spectrum of colors, right? Like a rainbow. You have green light, you have blue light, you have yellow light, you have red light, and then you have what's called infrared light, which means it's invisible to the eye. So you actually are emitting light, but the eye can't see it. And so this spectrum of light, where we know it interacts best with the skin is in the red range, which starts at about 500 and goes up to about 1,000. At 900 or 800 is when the red disappears. You can't see it, but it's still part of that spectrum. And that's what's called infrared. You actually can't see the light. So even though you see ads for infrared saunas and they're really red, that's not what this is. The infrared light is a light that is between, call it 800 and 1100 in the spectrum of light. So why people like infrared light is that it penetrates deeper than red. So you can't see it, but it's going deeper than red. But the peak where the light comes in contact with the tissue and it does all those wonderful things with the mitochondria is at 6:55. So when the light is at programmed to 6:55, that's when we see magic. So Joylux is all at 6:55 because we know that that's where your cells react the best. There's companies that will advertise that it's infrared, thinking, oh, it's deeper, it's going to penetrate more, but it's really about 6:55. It's just, again, this is getting really, really technical.
I appreciate it. This is an audience full of biohackers who are on the cutting edge of all things anti-aging technology, which makes you a perfect fit. I had Kim Vopni, the vagina coach. I had her on my show. We were talking about the Joylux, how amazing it is. She was the one who told me that there are actually wrinkles in the vagina called, I think they're called rugae.
Oh, that's a term I've not even heard.
Yes, and that red light helps keep them nice and wrinkled.
Wrinkle free.
You want the wrinkles in the vagina, she said.
Okay. I have not heard this one. I'll have to talk to her about that.
If you just gave birth, when would be an okay time to introduce the Joylux?
Going back to my personal story, I had just given birth to my son and then went into perimenopause within that same year because I was a geriatric mother. I was 42 years old. And so I was experiencing all the trauma from childbirth as well as what happens with perimenopause. So when I designed this, I actually designed it for mothers in mind. Like I thought the target audience would be women who just had babies because that's when your body, you just went through that damage. And so this helps accelerate the repair of it. What we found though is that, and I know this from personal experience, is that new moms are like, all they're focused on is the kid, right? They spend all their energy taking care of their new baby. They ignore themselves, their body, and they focus on the child. So what we found is that the women buying our product were women in menopause or perimenopause. And at that point, their children are now, grown up or close enough that then they can start focusing on themselves. So as a company, we really started doing our marketing message to, the woman 40 plus. But the product works just as well for women in their 20s. In fact, our clinical study had women as young as 26 in our study. But the question is when to use it. As soon as you can insert something into your vagina. So for most women, the doctor will say 6 weeks. That's when we'd say start using it. But if you could do it sooner, do it sooner. In fact, we have a second product geared specifically for newborn or new moms. That's called the NeoHeat, and it's an external red light device that they put on their perineum right after giving birth. So we're saying you come home from that hospital, you start using NeoHeat because it will accelerate the healing of your perineum. So if you experienced any tearing, this will help heal your tissue and get you back to normal more quickly. And that's an external device. So it's the same technology as the Joylux device, but it's in a pad that you put in your underwear and wear.
Could you use that same device if you're pregnant?
Absolutely not. Not that there's any evidence that it would harm the baby. In fact, we don't think it would do any harm. The fact is, you don't do anything when you're pregnant. You don't want to put your body at risk for anything during pregnancy. So from you stop eating sushi to tuna fish, you focus on the health of your child when you're pregnant.
Are there any other reasons, or is there anyone who shouldn't use the Joylux?
Yeah. So the one thing about red light, it's supernatural and there's no known adverse events. Red light's been around for, as I mentioned, decades. It's incredibly safe, which is why we chose that versus ultrasound or radio frequency. Is red light's very, very safe. But if you are on cancer fighting drugs that increase your photosensitivity, so you can't be in sunlight, you can't be in light because of the medicine you're on, then we say do not use for at least 6 months because your tissue is more compromised. And then if it comes exposed to the light, you could have, a more of an effect. So we say no to anybody that's using photosensitive drugs, which are generally related to cancers and
Okay.
radiation.
I'm curious to learn about the fun vibrational aspect you added.
Yes, so the device has vibration and it looks like a sex toy, right? So let's be honest, everybody thinks it's a sex toy. I'm afraid if you're buying it for that, you're not going to get the same effect as if you bought a vibrator. So don't buy it for that purpose only. But what we know about vibration is we put it in the device for tactile feedback. Because once you put this in your body, you can't see the light. You shouldn't be able to see the light. And light doesn't have a sound. You can't feel light. The warmth, some people feel, some people don't. So you may not feel the warmth. So how do you know it's working? And so the vibration was intended to give you tactile feedback that something is going on. So it's a very low vibrational hertz. It just gives you a nice tactile feedback. But what we learned in doing our research is that vibration also acts to excite the fibroblasts in our cells. And so we found a body of evidence that suggested that light and vibration together makes light more effective. And I think of it as like the vibration is hitting that light, and that light then is hitting the tissue. It's making it go kind of deeper into the tissue. So when we saw this evidence, there were studies done on, I think it was mice, on the effects of light and vibration. The results were really compelling. When we did our clinical studies, we're like, wow, we're really seeing great results. So we like to attribute some of those results to the benefits of vibration.
Okay, very good. I'm really glad you brought that up. I'm sure everybody asks you because it does. It does look like a sex toy.
The thing is, that's how our body was made, right? Like I couldn't make this square because it wouldn't fit. So, it's very comfortable. It's, it's designed specifically for the shape. Only this part goes in your body. This is outside of your body. So the majority of it's outside. But it is what it is because our body is what it is.
That's right. Colette, I would love to hear a story of someone who found the Joylux and is better off because of it.
You may have seen that Halle Berry, the acclaimed actress and movie director, producer, Academy Award winner, suffered from her own personal experience with vaginal health. So a couple years ago, she had finally met the man of her dreams, and she fell madly in love, and they were having lots of sex, but it hurt her. It was really painful, and so much so that she had to go to the doctors. And was misdiagnosed with something very horrible. And the doctors, what it came down to is she just had vaginal atrophy. So she had the thinning of the vaginal tissue, which caused was dry, which caused lots of friction during intercourse, which led to inflammation and pain. And it was just really nasty. And so someone suggested she try our Joylux device. And it totally changed her health. Within, I think she says 3 weeks, she started to, it was a 180, and she felt much better and younger and more youthful again. And so she reached out to us. She called us. And I love this story because I get a call and it was, Halle Berry wants to talk to you. And I'm like, oh, funny. I thought my team was pranking me. I thought they were, let's punk the CEO. Turns out it really was Halle Berry. And I ended up going to her home, and I brought Dr. Sarah with us, our chief medical officer. And the three of us sat there for well over 2 hours talking everything about women's health, about what went on with Hallie and her personal experience. And she was like, I want to make a difference in women's life. I want to use my platform to help talk to women about why taking care of their body is important, what happens as we age and go through menopause, and the tools that can help them be better. And so she joined our company. She invested in our company. She's a partner for us. We then went on to create this incredible lubricant, this FDA cleared lubricant that I mentioned earlier has hyaluronic acid and aloe in it. It's called Let's Spin because Hallie's platform is called Respin. So Let's Spin is all about let's spin in bed with your loved one. And so the partnership has been really amazing. We're really raising awareness for all the vaginal health issues women face throughout their life, but especially in perimenopause and menopause.
Oh, I just love that so much. I love it so much because a majority of my listeners, they're in perimenopause or they're in menopause and they're looking for that pill or that procedure to help tighten things up and get things back to normal or, make things better. And they haven't heard of Joylux yet.
Yes, and we are a wonderful alternative, a natural way to help improve your vaginal health symptoms. You could go on hormones, vaginal estrogen, that definitely helps. We love estrogen. It's, a great thing, but it may not be all that you may need more than just estrogen. And that's when you could try the Joylux device with estrogen, without estrogen. It just will really help improve your vaginal health.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I love it so much. Colette, this has been such a delight to have you on. But as we wrap up this podcast, I ask all my guests the same closing question, which is, what haven't I asked you that you'd like my listeners to know?
Oh my gosh. I think it's so important that we normalize the conversation and let women know that you're not alone, that so many of us experience these health issues, and you should not feel ashamed or embarrassed if you too are experiencing dryness or pain with sex or loss of bladder control, that these are very normal symptoms that happen with aging and as we go through perimenopause and menopause. And you should advocate for yourself. You should talk to your doctors. You should talk to your friends. You should talk to people that are experiencing it and that can help you find the tools. And, Joylux, we're one of many now wonderful platforms out there that have information and tools, and we can certainly help you, but talk to your doctors, talk to your mothers, talk to your girlfriends. Really advocate for your health down there, because if that's not functioning, this doesn't function. So to be a complete well person, you need everything working. And that's what Joylux is here, is to help you make that work better.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And I love that so much. And I don't think enough women know that in perimenopause and menopause, your orgasm strength can diminish. And if we aren't talking about that, how sad of a life is that if you're no longer having sex because your orgasms aren't amazing anymore?
Right. And they can still be. Like, what I love about being in my 50s now is I know who I am. I know what I want. I'm in total control. And so I'm not afraid to ask for what I deserve. And I take care of myself down there so I get the best experience possible. That I'm at my prime, and I'm in my 50s and I'm at my prime right now.
Colette, I just thought of one other question I wanted to ask you before I let you go. But does the Joylux help with helping you not leak down there?
Yes, that's where it started. This was all about the V-Sculpt device that was the first product we created, was all about controlling your stress incontinence. So it was about rebuilding collagen and elastin in your urethral canal, which is connected to your vaginal canal. So that was the origins of the company, was how can we use red light to help with bladder control? It was actually when we launched the product that women came back and said, oh my God, it was helping with my dryness issues, my pain with sex issues. And so that's when we broadened our messaging and our studies to study it, to really understand. And it's all really connected when you think about it. It's all really connected. So 100%, this helps with your pelvic floor health. It improves your overall strength, your control, it does it all. And that's why no matter what age, get started, because you start earlier, you're going to have better health as you get older.
Do you have any upcoming sales?
Yes, we only do this once a year, and it is for Black Friday, where we have a company-wide, site-wide discount of 25%, which is the biggest we've ever do throughout the year. So definitely take advantage of this, because it truly is only once a year, and it's around that Black Friday and Cyber Monday. So take advantage of it, and it's site-wide. It's even on the Halle products, which we never discount at all during the year.
Amazing. Perfect timing. Well, Colette, tell us where listeners can go to find you and buy the Joylux.
Yes. Well, a couple of places. First, start by going to our website, joylux.com, joylux.com. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. We have such amazing content and great doctors that talk about women's health and sexual health throughout the year in podcasts and live streaming events. And who knows, you may even see Halle up there too. So join us at any one of those and just reach out. We're here for you. Actually, if you call us, you will get a human being on the phone.
Oh, I love that.
We love talking to women.
Well, I will make sure to put everything in the show notes. Colette, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Ashley. I'm so glad you're using the Joylux device, the VFit device. Thank you. And I love that you're here talking about women's health. It takes a village to get out there and spread the news of how important it is to take care of your body from head to toe and in between.
Absolutely amazing. Thank you, Colette.
Thank you. Bye, Ashley.
Thank you so much for listening today. If you enjoyed today's episode, a quick shout out on Instagram or leaving a review would make a positive difference. Or even better, share this podcast with someone you think might benefit from this information. You can get in touch with me on socials. I'm most active on Instagram. My handle is Ashley_Deeley. Until next time, this podcast is presented for educational and exploratory purposes only. The published content is not intended to be used for diagnosing or treating any illnesses, disease, or disorders. Those responsible for this show disclaim any responsibility for any possible adverse effects from the use of this information presented by myself or my guests. Please consult with your healthcare provider before using any products or services referenced in this podcast. Episodes on the Welcome to Wellness podcast may at times cover sensitive topics, including, but not limited to, depression, suicide, 5G, nootropics, circumcision, birth control, the Women's Health Initiative, the use of plants medicine, abortion, geoengineering, terrorism, gender, AI, and sex, drugs, and rock and roll. You are advised to refrain from listening to this podcast if you are likely to be offended or adversely impacted by any of these topics. However, if these topics interest you, you just may have found your tribe. The information or opinions expressed on the Welcome to Wellness show are solely the views of the individuals involved and by no means represent absolute facts. Opinions expressed by the host and the guest can change at any time. The views of my guests are solely their views, and the Welcome to Wellness show does not accept responsibility for them. Any action you take based on the information contained within this podcast is strictly at your own risk. The Welcome to Wellness host, Ashley Deeley, will not be liable for any losses or damages in connections with the use of this podcast. You should take all necessary steps to ascertain the information you receive in this podcast is correct and has been verified. None of the guests or contributors on the Welcome to Wellness podcast will be responsible for your use of the information contained therein. Under no circumstances will the Welcome to Wellness show or my affiliates, partners, suppliers, licenses, or guests appearing on the show be liable for any direct or indirect consequences or damages arising from your ability or inability to access this podcast. All intellectual property rights belong to me, Ashley Deeley, and include, but are not limited to, the copyright and any other rights in the design. You are permitted to use the Welcome to Wellness podcast for personal use, but not for commercial use without license. You may not make recordings. If you breach these terms, you lose the right to the Welcome to Wellness podcast, and you must destroy or return any copies or recordings you've made. Guests on the Welcome to Wellness podcast may at times provide information or read extracts from third-party copyrighted work. The Welcome to Wellness podcast does not provide any medical or professional advice within these episodes and should not be used as a replacement for medical or clinical care. If you take any action or inaction as a result from the content you consume within the Welcome to Wellness podcast, this is based solely on your decision, and Ashley Deeley and the Welcome to Wellness podcast host and my guests cannot be held responsible or liable for any of the consequences of such action or inaction. Thank you.